On market days, when the town was busiest, strange warriors covered in raffia attacked without warning. They burned stalls, stole goods, and took men, women, and children as captives. They spoke no words, showed no mercy, and vanished like spirits. The people were terrified, and they believed these invaders were supernatural beings sent by the gods. No one knew where they came from or how to stop them. Traders no longer displayed their goods with joy. Instead, they watched the roads with anxious eyes, waiting for the next attack. King Aranmian, troubled by the suffering of his people, gathered his warriors. They tried to defend the land, but nothing they did could stop them. Spears and arrows passed through the invaders without harming them. They were untouchable. Moremi sat in the palace, her heart heavy with sorrow. She had seen too many homes destroyed, and unlike others who accepted the warriors as spirits, she was convinced that they were men who had mastered the art of deception. But how could she prove it? There was only one way. She had to go among them, to see them up close and uncover the truth herself. It was a dangerous plan, but Moremi had already made up her mind. Before carrying out her plan, she went to the sacred Asimarin river. She knelt beside the flowing water, her voice steady as she prayed. "If you help me uncover the secret of our enemies and save my people, I will return to offer you a great sacrifice." The river rippled as if it had heard her, and she took it as a sign that her destiny had been sealed. On the next market day, when the raffia-covered warriors attacked, Moremi stood in the open, waiting. The moment they saw her, they grabbed her roughly, dragging her away without a word. Her maidens, who had been near her just moments before, screamed and ran, scattering in different directions to save themselves. As the warriors carried her off, Moremi's heart pounded in her chest, but she did not struggle. Moremi's journey into the enemy's land was long and filled with uncertainty. The raffia-clad warriors carried her deep into the forests, far from everything she had ever known. She remained silent, carefully observing her surroundings. When they arrived at the enemy's settlement, Moremi was surprised. It was not a ghostly kingdom of spirits as many in Ile-Ife believed. It was a large, well-organized village filled with men, women, and children. The warriors were not supernatural beings but ordinary people who lived and ruled just like the people of Ile-Ife. Moremi was taken before the leader of the warriors, a powerful king who ruled over them with unquestioned authority. He sat upon a high wooden throne, dressed in fine animal skins, with his warriors kneeling before him in respect. When he saw Moremi, he was immediately struck by her beauty and grace. Unlike the other captives who trembled before him, she stood tall, her eyes steady and fearless. This intrigued him. He had never seen a woman like her before. Curious about this bold woman, the king ordered that she be brought to his palace instead of being treated like an ordinary prisoner. He spoke to her, testing her intelligence, and found her words clever and wise. Over time, he grew fond of her, and soon, he made a decision he would take her as his wife. Moremi became the queen of the enemy's land. She was given fine clothes, adorned with jewelry, and treated with great respect. But while she played the role of a devoted wife, her mind was always focused on her true mission. She needed to learn their secrets, and she needed to find a way to escape. But for now, she had to be patient. Moremi had now spent many moons in the enemy's land. And at first, the king guarded his words around her, revealing little about his people or their ways. But as time passed, his trust in her grew. He sought her company often, speaking to her about matters of war, the prosperity of his land, and the victories of his warriors. Moremi listened, careful never to press too hard for answers. She knew that if she was patient, the moment she had been waiting for would come. One night, after a great feast, the king sat with Moremi in his private chamber. He was in a generous mood, pleased with the way she had adapted to life in his kingdom. He took her hand in his eyes filled with admiration. "You are not like the others," he said. "I have many wives, but none have intrigued me as you do. You are clever, graceful, and strong. You belong here with me." Moremi smiled warmly at the king, her eyes filled with admiration. She spoke gently, her voice soft and sweet. "My lord, your warriors are truly amazing. I have never seen such strength and bravery before. No kingdom can stand against them. Even the bravest warriors of Ile-Ife fear them." The king's chest swelled with pride at her words. He enjoyed the praise and the way she looked at him with such respect. Yes, he said proudly, my warriors are the strongest. No one can defeat them. Moremi continued, her voice still gentle and admiring. It must be because of your great leadership, my lord. Only a wise and powerful king can command such fearless warriors. But there must be something special about them that makes them so strong. I wish I could understand such greatness. The king regarded her for a long moment, his eyes softening at her words. Moremi's admiration made him feel powerful and respected. No one had ever spoken of his warriors with such praise, and it filled him with pride. Yet, the secret of their strength was something he had never shared with anyone outside his people. But his affection for Moremi ran deep, stronger than his caution. More than anything, he wished for her to truly understand the greatness of his warriors and the power he commanded. Finally, with a quiet sigh, he leaned closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. It is the raffia. Moremi's heart raced, but she kept her expression calm. The king continued, his voice lowered as if revealing a sacred secret. The raffia is more than a disguise. It is what makes them untouchable. No spear or arrow can harm them while they wear it. He then let out a small, knowing smile. But even the strongest warriors have a weakness. There is one thing that can destroy their power. Moremi looked at him with quiet anticipation. And what is that, my lord? She asked gently. The king hesitated, as if debating whether to say more. But he was too fond of her, too convinced that she had become part of his world. He finally whispered, fire. The raffia burns. If the flames touch it, the warriors are left with no protection. Moremi fought to steady her breathing. This was the answer she had been searching for. She had come to the enemy's land for this very knowledge, and now she had it. The king ran his fingers over her hand and said, But you must never speak of this, my queen. This secret belongs to my people alone. Moremi nodded, her lips forming a small smile. But deep within, her mind was already racing. She had learned the secret. Now, she had to escape and return to Ile-Ife. The enemy village was alive with celebration. The warriors, full of pride from their latest raid, danced around great fires, drinking from clay pots of palm wine. Their laughter echoed through the night as they boasted about their victories. Moremi moved among them, careful but determined. Earlier that evening, she had slipped crushed leaves into the warriors' drinks, herbs that would make them fall into a deep sleep. Now, she watched as one by one, their eyes grew heavy. Some slumped over their meals, others fell where they sat today. Even the great king drank without suspicion. Soon, silence replaced the noise of celebration. With the warriors sound asleep, Moremi moved quickly. She stepped over their unconscious bodies, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. She had made it past the last hut when a sudden sound froze her in place. A warrior stirred. His eyes flickered open, and before he could fully wake, Moremi grabbed a thick stick lying nearby. With all her strength, she struck him across the head. He groaned and collapsed again, unmoving. Wasting no time, Moremi ran toward the forest. She had stolen a torch from one of the fires, and its light guided her through the thick trees. At last, through the trees, she saw the first signs of home. The familiar land of her people was close. She had escaped. She had survived. As soon as Moremi arrived at the palace, the guards rushed to announce her return. The moment King Aranmian saw her, he rose from his throne in shock. His eyes widened, and for a moment, he seemed unable to speak. Then, in a voice filled with relief, he said, "My queen, what happened to you?" Moremi stepped forward, her face calm despite all she had been through. "I was taken to their land," Moremi said. "At first, I was a captive, but soon, the enemy king took a liking to me. He made me his wife, thinking I would remain loyal to him. I won his trust, and in time, he revealed their greatest secret," she said. "The warriors who attack us are not spirits. They are men like us. Their power comes from charms woven into the raffia that covers their bodies. That is why our weapons cannot harm them. But they have a weakness," Moremi added. "Fire. Flames will burn through the raffia and destroy the magic that protects them. Without it, they will be nothing more than ordinary men." King Aranmian's expression hardened. His voice rang with authority as he turned to his warriors. "If fire is their weakness, then fire shall be our weapon," he declared. "Prepare torches. On the next market day, we will not run. We will fight." The warriors of Ile-Ife hurried to gather dry palm leaves, oil, and wood to make torches. The entire kingdom prepared for battle. On the next market day, the invaders stormed into Ile-Ife as usual, their raffia-covered bodies moving like spirits. They believed the people would run in fear again. But this time, the warriors of Ile-Ife stood their ground, waiting for the right moment. At the king's command, they hurled burning torches at the attackers. The flames spread quickly, consuming the raffia disguises. The charms that had once made them untouchable burned away. Without their magical protection, they were powerless. One by one, they fell, unable to fight back. Not a single one escaped. They were all defeated. The people of Ile-Ife cheered as the last of the enemy fell. The battle was won. After the great victory over the raffia warriors, Ile-Ife was filled with joy. The people danced and sang, praising Queen Moremi for her courage. The king was proud of her, and the kingdom finally felt safe. But Moremi could not forget the promise she made to the river spirit Asimarin. Before allowing herself to be captured, she had vowed to offer a great sacrifice if she returned safely and saved her people. Now, she knew she had to fulfill that promise. So she went to King Aranmian and said, "My lord, I must go to Asimarin and give my offering. I made a vow, and I cannot break it." The king was troubled. "You have already given so much, my queen," he said. "Must you still make a sacrifice?" Moremi nodded. "A promise to the gods cannot be broken," she said. The priests, elders, and people of Ile-Ife followed Moremi to the sacred river. She knelt before the waters and spoke, "Asimarin, I have returned as I promised. You helped me save my people, and now I must give my offering." The priests listened for the message from the river spirit. After a while, they turned to Moremi and said, "The sacrifice required is your son." The people gasped in shock. Moremi's son was her only child, the young prince of Ile-Ife. She stared at the priests, her heart pounding. Tears ran down her face because she knew she could not break her word. If she refused, disaster could come upon Ile-Ife again. With deep sorrow, she whispered, "So be it." The sacrifice was made, and the kingdom mourned with their queen. She had saved her people, but she had lost her beloved son. Heartbroken, Moremi later returned to King Aranmian. She wept bitterly and could not be comforted. Seeing her pain, the king and the people of Ile-Ife honored her as the greatest heroine the kingdom had ever known. In time, the people built a shrine in her name. They worshipped her as a goddess, and her story was told for generations. Moremi had given everything for her people, and her name would never be forgotten. To honor her bravery, festivals and songs were introduced, ensuring that her sacrifice remained in the hearts of the people. Today, her statue stands tall at the Moremi Statue of Liberty, a lasting symbol of her courage and selflessness.